My fiancé announced, "My family issues are none of your business. Don't ask again." I replied, "All right." After that, I stopped involving her in any part of my life that required trust. When she suddenly realized everyone else knew something she didn't. What happened next caught her completely off guard. I'm 36, and I've been engaged for about 8 months now. We'd been dating for 2 years before I proposed, and honestly, things were good. Not perfect, but good enough that I thought we were building towards something solid. She was independent, driven, and had this way of making me laugh even on my worst days. But there was always this wall when it came to her family. From early on, I noticed she never really talked about them. Her parents, her siblings. It was like they existed in some parallel universe she refused to let me into. At first, I didn't push. Everyone has complicated family dynamics, right? But as we got more serious, it started feeling strange. I'd met them exactly twice in 2 years. Both times were brief, awkward dinners where everyone smiled too much and said too little. About 3 months ago, I tried to address it. We were sitting in the living room on a Sunday afternoon, and I'd just gotten off the phone with my own mom, who was asking about wedding plans and whether her family would be involved in any of the planning. "Hey," I said, putting my phone down. "My mom was asking about your family. She wants to coordinate with your mom about some of the wedding stuff. Should I give her your mom's number, or do you want to handle that?" She looked up from her laptop, and I saw her jaw tighten. "I'll handle it." "Okay, cool," I said. "Also, I was thinking maybe we could all have dinner together soon. Both families. It might be nice before things get hectic with planning." "That's not necessary," she said flatly. "I mean, it's not necessary, but it could be nice." I pressed gently. "They're going to be family too, you know. It'd be good for everyone to get to know each other." She closed her laptop with a snap. "Can we not do this right now?" "Do what? I'm just trying to—" "My family issues are none of your business," she cut me off. "Don't ask again." The words hit me like cold water. Not the message itself, but the tone. Sharp, final, like a door slamming in my face. I sat there for a moment, processing. "All right," I said quietly. She went back to her laptop like nothing had happened, but something had shifted in me. If her family was none of my business, then fine. But trust is a two-way street, and she just put up a roadblock I couldn't ignore. That conversation changed how I operated. Not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually. I started keeping certain things to myself. Not out of spite, out of self-preservation. If she wanted walls, I'd respect them, but I wasn't going to keep tearing down my own while she reinforced hers. Update 1. The first thing I stopped sharing was financial stuff. We weren't married yet, so our finances were still separate, but we'd talked about combining them after the wedding. I'd been transparent about everything, my savings, my investments, my plans. She knew I had a decent amount put away, and that I'd been planning to use some of it for a down payment on a house after we got married. What she didn't know was that I'd been in talks with a financial advisor about restructuring some investments. I was setting up a trust, actually, something my dad had suggested years ago that I'd finally gotten around to doing. It wasn't about hiding money from her. It was about protecting assets I'd built before we met. But I didn't mention it. She also didn't know that I'd started consulting with a lawyer about a prenup. After that conversation about her family, something in my gut told me to be careful. I wasn't trying to be cold, just realistic. If she couldn't be open with me about her family, what else might she be holding back? The prenup conversation was necessary anyway. I had investments and property from before we met, but I'd been putting it off because I didn't want to upset her. Now I just scheduled the meeting and didn't bring it up. Around the same time, my best friend asked me to be a partner in a business venture he was starting. Nothing huge, but it had potential. It would require some capital and time. Normally, this is exactly the kind of thing I'd discuss with her. Instead, I just told my friend I'd think about it and ran the numbers myself. 2 weeks after her family comment, my mom called asking about Thanksgiving plans. She wanted to know if her family would be joining us. I don't think so, I said. She's got her own thing going on with them. Oh, my mom said, sounding disappointed. Well, maybe we can all do something together for Christmas? Maybe, I said, non-committal. I wasn't going to force it. When my fiancée asked me later what my family was doing for Thanksgiving, I said, the usual. Big dinner at my parents' house. Are we going? She asked. I am, I said. You're welcome to come if you want. She frowned. If I want? We're engaged. Of course I'm coming. I just didn't want to assume, I said evenly, since family stuff can be complicated. She caught the edge in my tone but didn't push it. What time should we leave? Thanksgiving came and went. It was fine, but I noticed my family asking her polite questions about her own family, and she gave vague, minimal answers. My mom gave me a look across the table that said everything. Update 2. December rolled around, and wedding planning started getting serious. We had a venue booked for the following summer, and deposits were due. My mom and sister were heavily involved, asking questions, offering help, trying to coordinate things. Every time they asked about her family's involvement, I'd just shrug and say, she's handling that side of things. But she wasn't handling it. I could tell from the way she'd tense up whenever wedding stuff came up. Her mom had sent exactly one text asking about the date and nothing since. No calls, no offers to help, no excitement. It was bizarre. One evening in mid-December, we were going over the guest list. I had my family's side done. About 70 people, all accounted for. I asked her how many people her family wanted to invite. I'm not sure yet, she said, not looking up from her phone. Well, we need to give the venue a rough count by next week, I said. Can you check with them? I'll handle it, she snapped. I'm not saying you won't, I replied calmly. I'm just saying we have a deadline. She put her phone down and glared at me. Why are you being like this? Like what? Distant. Cold. You've been weird for weeks. I almost laughed. I've been weird? You told me your family was none of my business. I'm just respecting that boundary. That's not what I meant, she said, but her voice had lost its edge. Then what did you mean? I asked. Because I heard you pretty clearly. She didn't answer, just picked up her phone again and left the room. That same week, my friend confirmed he wanted me as a business partner. I agreed and signed the paperwork without mentioning it to her. It wasn't her business, right? That's what she'd taught me. I also finalized the prenup draft with my lawyer. It was fair, straightforward. Anything either of us brought into the marriage stayed ours. Anything we built together would be split. I scheduled a meeting to present it to her after the holidays. I wasn't looking forward to it, but it needed to happen. Christmas came, and my family did their big celebration on the 23rd. Her family did something on Christmas Eve, and for the first time, she invited me. Are you sure? I asked when she mentioned it. Yes, I'm sure, she said, irritated. Why wouldn't I be? Just asking, I said. The dinner was uncomfortable. Her parents were stiff, her brother barely spoke, and her sister kept shooting her looks I couldn't decode. There was tension in that house you could cut with a knife. When we left, I didn't ask about it. None of my business, remember? Update 3 January hit, and things started unraveling faster than I expected. My mom called me one afternoon while I was at work. Hey, sweetie, she said. I wanted to run something by you. Your aunt was asking about whether her family is contributing to any wedding costs. I wasn't sure what to tell her. Why would her family contribute? I asked, confused. Well, traditionally the bride's family covers certain things, my mom said carefully. I just wanted to make sure we weren't stepping on any toes or duplicating efforts. Mom, I don't think her family is contributing anything, I said. There was a pause. Have you talked to her about that? It's none of my business, apparently, I said, more bitterly than I intended. Honey, you're marrying her. It kind of is your business. You'd think, I muttered. After that call, my mom, sister, and aunt apparently had a group chat going where they discussed the wedding situation. I wasn't part of it, but my sister let it slip one day when we met for coffee. "So, what's the deal with her family?" she asked point blank. "Honestly, I have no idea," I said. "She won't talk about it." "That's so weird," my sister said. "Like, red flag weird." "Tell me about it." "Have you met them?" "Twice, maybe 3 times if you count Christmas." My sister's eyes widened. "You're engaged to someone whose family you've barely met?" "Apparently," I said, feeling defensive even though I agreed with her. She sipped her coffee, thinking, "Do you think there's something actually wrong? Like abuse or something?" "I don't know," I admitted. She won't tell me anything. I tried asking, and she shut me down hard. "So what are you going to do?" "Honestly, I'm protecting myself," I said. "I'm getting a prenup drawn up, and I'm not making any more big decisions that involve her until I know what I'm actually walking into." My sister nodded slowly. Smart, sad, but smart. That conversation stayed with me. It was one thing for me to have doubts, but hearing someone else validate them made it real. A few days later, the business partnership with my friend became official. We had a small celebration dinner with a few other investors and partners. I didn't invite my fiancée. When she asked where I'd been that night, I said I'd had dinner with some friends. "Which friends?" she asked. "Just some guys from way back," I said vaguely. She looked at me suspiciously, but didn't press. The following week, I had the prenup conversation. I'd been dreading it, but it needed to happen. We were sitting at the kitchen table after dinner. I pulled out the folder and slid it across to her. "What's this?" she asked. "A prenup," I said. "I had my lawyer draw it up. It's pretty standard, just protects what we each brought into the marriage." Her face went pale, then red. "You're seriously asking me to sign a prenup?" "Yes," I said calmly. "It's not about trust. It's just practical." "It's absolutely about trust," she shouted. "You don't trust me." "Do you trust me?" I asked quietly. That stopped her. "What?" "Do you trust me?" I repeated. "Because you won't let me into huge parts of your life, your family, your past. You've locked me out of all of it. So yeah, I'm being practical, because I don't know what I don't know." She stared at the folder like it might bite her. "I can't believe you're doing this." "Read it," I said. "Take it to your own lawyer if you want, but I'm not getting married without one." She grabbed the folder and stormed off to the bedroom. I heard the door slam. Update 4. She didn't speak to me for 2 days. Just ice-cold silence and sleeping on the couch. On the 3rd day, she came to me with the prenup, unsigned. "I'm not signing this," she said. "Then we're not getting married," I replied. Her eyes filled with tears. "You'd really throw away 2 years over a piece of paper?" "You threw away my trust when you shut me out," I said. "This is just me protecting what's left." "I haven't shut you out," she protested weakly. "Your family issues are none of my business," I quoted back to her. "Your words, so fine. They're not my business, but my assets aren't yours either, until you decide I'm worth trusting." She wiped her eyes angrily. "You're being cruel." "I'm being realistic," I corrected. "You want partnership without transparency. That's not how this works." She left the apartment and didn't come back that night. I found out later she went to her parents' house. The next morning, my sister called me. "Hey, so this is weird, but I ran into someone yesterday who knows her family." My stomach dropped. "Okay?" "They told me something. I don't know if it's true, but..." She hesitated. "Just tell me," I said. Apparently, her family is in serious financial trouble, like bankruptcy-level trouble. They lost their business a few years ago and haven't recovered. Everything clicked into place. The avoidance, the secrecy, the tension at Christmas. "Are you sure?" "That's what I was told," my sister said. "And there's more. Apparently they've been asking her for money." A lot of money. I felt sick. How much? I don't know exact numbers, but enough that it's causing problems. After that call, I did something I'm not proud of. I checked our shared credit card statement, the one we used for joint expenses. There were cash withdrawals I didn't recognize, thousands of dollars over the past 6 months, always in round numbers. 500 here, 1,000 there. I called the credit card company and got detailed statements. The pattern was clear. She'd been withdrawing cash regularly and never mentioned it. Update 5. When she came back to the apartment 2 days later, I had the statements printed out on the kitchen table. She walked in, saw them, and froze. "Sit down," I said. She sat, eyes on the papers. "How much have you given them?" I asked. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice shook. "Don't," I said firmly. "Just don't. I know about your family's financial situation. I know you've been sending them money." "How much?" She stared at the table. "About 20,000 over the last year." I felt like I'd been punched. $20,000. From our joint account. "It was my money too," she said defensively. "It was our money for our life together," I shot back. "For the wedding, for our future. And you sent it to your family without telling me?" "They needed it," she whispered. "They were going to lose their house." "So you lied to me for a year. You hid this from me while we were planning a wedding, while I was trusting you with my life." "I didn't know how to tell you," she said, tears streaming now. "I was embarrassed, ashamed. So instead you shut me out and made me feel crazy for asking questions?" She didn't answer. "The prenup makes sense now," I said. "You need access to my money because yours is going to prop up your family." "That's not fair," she cried. "What's not fair is lying to your fiancé for a year," I said. "What's not fair is making me the bad guy for wanting transparency." I stood up. "I need time to think. You should stay somewhere else for a few days." "Please," she begged. "We can work through this." "I don't know if we can," I said honestly. "I don't know if I even know who you are anymore." She packed a bag and left. As soon as she was gone, I called my lawyer. Final update. It's been 6 weeks since that conversation. The engagement is off. I told her 3 weeks ago that I couldn't marry someone who'd hidden something that massive from me. She tried to apologize, offered to pay back the money, promised she'd cut off her family financially. But the trust was gone. Ending it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Despite everything, I did love her, but I couldn't build a life with someone who saw me as a solution to her problems rather than a partner. She moved out completely 2 weeks ago. I kept the apartment since it was mine before we met. She took her things and left without much drama, which I appreciated. I found out through mutual friends that her family's situation is worse than I thought. They're facing foreclosure, and her dad's business debts are astronomical. She's apparently back living with them, trying to help them sort through bankruptcy proceedings. Part of me feels bad for her. I do. That's an impossible situation. But she chose to handle it by lying to me, by shutting me out, by using money that was meant for our shared future. That's not how you treat someone you're building a life with. My family has been incredibly supportive. My mom, who liked her despite everything, said something that stuck with me. You can't save someone who won't be honest with you about what they're drowning in. The business partnership with my friend is going well. The prenup situation taught me a valuable lesson about protecting myself and being clear about boundaries from the start. As for dating again, I'm not ready yet. This whole thing left me more cautious than I'd like to admit, but I know what I won't accept now: walls, secrets, and one-sided trust. She texted me last week, just, "I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better." I didn't respond. Some apologies are true, but still too late. Edit 1. People keep asking if I ever confronted her family directly. I didn't. Once I knew the truth, there was no point. Their financial problems weren't my responsibility, and getting involved would have just complicated an already messy situation. Edit 2. The $20,000 wasn't the full amount from the joint account. We'd both contributed to it, and technically about half was money she'd earned. But the deception was the issue, not the money itself. Though losing 10 grand I'd contributed to what I thought was our future definitely stung. Edit 3. Someone asked if she ever signed the prenup. No. Once the truth came out, we never got back to that conversation. The engagement ended before it became relevant.